Hey everyone, I'm Joanna Rochester, and this is Real Talk Soul Alchemy on Speak Up and Empower. Speak Up and Empower is an online community of heart-centered people that are focused on creating more in their lives, either becoming more, healthier, happier, filled with joy, providing acts of service to others, or those that are on their journey of providing those acts of service and guiding and teaching other people. Soul alchemy is the journey of transformation. In the old days, we used to talk about alchemy. It was the practice of changing silver into gold. But soul alchemy is the practice of transforming yourself from your story into what your soul, what you came here to be, to start to become in alignment with your purpose and to figure out or remember who you are. And so Real Talk Soul Alchemy is sharing with you tips and tools and techniques and information about how to come to understand better who you really are by becoming aware of what your story is, and then uncovering that story and releasing the blocks that are preventing you from being that best version of yourself, having joy and happiness and good health and all the wonderful things that are open and possible to you. Because this is really our purpose in life, is to remember who we are. And that's letting go of all that story, all of the pieces that have fallen into place based upon your story, how you grew up, who your parents were, things that people said to you, labels that were put upon you. If you were told you were shy as a kid, you probably carried that with you all your life. But that, and now you think of yourself as shy, but we are never what our story is. And so when we can come to understand that, we can start to let go of those pieces and really become that best version of ourselves. And one of the things for a lot of people, myself included here, is trying to control things. Trying to control all aspects of your life to get it right, to become that best version of yourself, to move towards alignment, to be a better parent, a better employee, a better wife, better husband, better friend, whatever it is. We try and control it. We try and fix things. We try and fix other people or help other people, especially, with the more feminine within us, we're always trying to help other people. Unfortunately, often we leave ourselves behind on this journey, and it becomes almost like that self-fulfilling prophecy that we're constantly taking care of other people, but then who is taking care of ourselves, of who's taking care of me? And this is a journey that the more that we can receive from others and be open and allow that, the more that we have to give, and the more that we have to share, and the more that we will receive. I heard a really great expression in a meditation that I was doing this morning, and the meditation guider, not guider, the meditation, what's the word for it? Geez, I'm drawing a blank on it. But the person who was guiding the meditation actually said that life is a feedback loop. And anything that irritates you, bugs you, any symptom within your body, these are all just adventures, symptoms, things for you to be aware of, to learn, to come to understand more. And if you can become aware of how much you try and control your life, then you can move towards letting go of that need to control, because controlling everything leaves no space for anything new, anything outside of the box, for any alternatives, any different ways of functioning. And it also leaves very little time to actually experience other people and experience the joys that other people have to offer. If we're always trying to control who we connect with, what the conversations are like, what we dress like, what our interactions are like with other people, then we are very limited in our lives. And this can really challenge us, can really keep us inside that story, preventing us from remembering who we are, remembering what our true purpose here is here on life, to become us, remember who we are, and to remember that we are God and God is in us. So we don't need to search outside of us for what's already inside of us. And so the more we can come to that place of trusting the universe and trusting that we are exactly where we're supposed to be, then the more we can move towards a place of just knowing that everything's good and everything's going to be okay. And we don't have to try and control everything. One of the things that I think was important to understand is that any emotion, any need to control, anything that we try and place in our lives will have an effect upon us. So as a homeopath and nutritionist, as a wellness coach, it's part of what I do, is to share with people, if you are constipated or the reverse, have a lot of diarrhea, they're just opposite ends of the same spectrum, you are more likely someone who is trying to control everything. And it manifests that way because if you're trying to control, if you feel out of control in your outside world, you're going to try and control your inside world. And subconsciously, you tighten up, you control. And that keeps everything from flowing smoothly. And it allows, and it presents itself very often as constipation, digestive issues that are not, you're not able to release and allow things to flow. So if you don't realize that you are trying to control things, that may be a very simple indicator for you. But the other thing that I would strongly suggest to you, then, if you're also trying to control everything, who do you trust? Do you trust yourself? Are you able to look at things and know that you have this under control? You're the only one that can do this. You're the only one that can take care of these things. All of these pieces are limiting you, are often, for a lot of people, become debilitating over time. Anyone with OCD, right? Obsessive compulsive disorder. It's that need to control. It's need to take care of your internal world, once again, because your external world is out of control. So other signs that you trying to control everything. Do you have conversations with yourself before discussions, right? Trying to ensure that you know how a conversation is going to go. And that's okay, but it's when you then also have the responses on the other side. And I can never catching my dad talking to himself in the mirror, and he would have discussions, just to see how he wanted things to go in his head ahead of time. But then he would give the responses from the other people too. And I always thought that was a bit of strange because, it's good to prepare, but not to try and control. And my dad was definitely a controlling person. It was what allowed him to exist. And because he was an extreme introvert. And so that's okay, right? But it's as you become aware that these are your characteristics, it's deciding that you probably don't want to continue on in that mode because it's probably not doing you any favors. So moving towards a place where you are not so much control, that you are not being challenged in the way that by needing to control everything. So take a look at your life. And, I talk a lot about being an observer in your life and paying attention to what the world around you, being present and understanding yourself and being aware of your physical symptoms, your thoughts, your emotion, things along that lines. So as you move through that and are that third person in your life, then you will probably notice that you do try and control things. And I think we all do to a certain degree, but when it becomes a focus in your life, and a lot of times, once again, we're often not aware that we do try and control. But when you do become aware that you are trying to control things, it's examining that. Why do you need to control so much? And once again, we're going back to that, who do you trust? Do you trust yourself? Because a lot of times I really think that we trying to control things because we can't trust anyone else. And that's how it appears in the surface. But I think more often than not, it's not that we don't trust anyone else, it's that we don't trust ourselves. Because if we trust ourselves to pay attention to see those characteristics that are, or the symptoms or signs that are presented to us, then we often, if we can pay attention to them and understand them and trust them, then we don't have to trust other people. So often when we meet new people or when relationships change, we are given the warning signs or the red flags that advise us, if it's someone new, that maybe you don't want to get to know them, that there are signs about them that you're not going to be able to trust them, or they are someone that you don't need to be in contact with. They're very negative or very, not a good person, whatever it is. So often we don't trust the signs that we are given, whether they're physical symptoms or just a gut feeling or a knowing. The other thing to consider then too is when we are in a relationship with someone and we start to get red flags in that relationship. And if we don't trust ourselves, we don't listen to those red flags and we ignore them for whatever reason. I had red flags in a relationship and those red flags came up, but I trusted the person implicitly and said, there's no way this person would do this. And I ignored them. In part, it was because of my own lack of self-confidence at the time that, if I recognized those red flags and said, all right, I see them, I've got to find out more or do something about this, then it would have, forced me to take a look at the relationship and forced me to step up and say, hey, what's going on here? And so instead, I ignored the red flags, and to my peril later on, and of course, it was true that I had been betrayed. But it is, the signs are always there. And if we can trust ourselves, so first of all, come to know ourselves and understand what the signs are and be able to say, okay, here's a sign. What does it mean? Explore it a bit more. And then do something about it. So trust the signs and trust that you're being presented with these signs to once again do something about it. Either come to understand yourself more, move away from the relationship, learn more, have the relationship grow, like whatever is being presented to you. When you can trust yourself, then you don't have to trust other people. And when you can trust yourself, you can give up control and let go, because you'll know that you'll be presented with whatever you need in order to move through your life with joy and happiness and peace and serenity and in relationships that are truly for your best and greatest good. And so how do you give up control? Well, first of all, it is that awareness. Being aware that you are trying to control things. And then ideally you move into where you go, okay, I'm trying to control things. All right, I'm giving up trust. Well, for me, that's been a many-year process of reaching that point where I was able to say, all right, I know, right? I can't do this on my own. I've been trying, and, it's been a journey of reaching out to people and saying, hey, how do I move through this? How do I let go? How do I come to understand myself? How do I come to trust myself more? And so it hasn't happened overnight, and I probably have done a few times where I said, all right, I'm leaving it up to you, but then I don't really. And I fall back on old habits, and I fall back on, my old ways of doing things. And that's okay. I think when we can finally give up that need to control, then we've come through so much that it can be a simple process. So once again, reaching that point where you can say, okay, like I'm leaving this up to you. Guide me, show me what I need to do. And how does that guidance come in? Well, that can come in if you pray. It can come in through prayer. Of course, the biggest thing with prayer is to ask your questions, make the statements, have those discussions, but then being able to listen to hear what the response is. Because, that's one of the biggest things. We ask, we talk, but then we don't listen to hear. And, how you hear is going to be different for every person. You could just have a knowing. You could actually hear words. One of my daughter's friends was driving home from school one night, and all of a sudden she heard her name called out in the car, and she sat up and looked around, and a deer jumped in front of the car. So sometimes we do actually hear. Sometimes we see images, and we know based upon that image what we're being, that there's a whole story. A picture contains 1,000 words. So it's going to be different for each of you, but as you go through your journey of self-awareness and self-growth and self-love, you will come to understand yourself better. And this is where that being that observer in your life and understanding yourself better. And oh my gosh, my nose is itching. Sorry about that. What's going on? Well, that's kind of funny because it can be elementals coming in and making me more aware of something. There's something about this conversation that's important. Anyways, yes, prayer is a great way to do it. Meditation is of course, a huge way to start to connect with your higher self and to start to be supported and guided in a variety of ways. And there's all kinds of guided meditations out there to connect with your higher self. And, I actually just did one this morning that was a really powerful one. But there's so many guided meditations out there. It's just what you're in the mood for in the moment. So connect with your higher self, connect with angels, archangels, whoever you feel most comfortable with and who you ever are drawn to. And this is something that I do with the work that I do, is I help people to start to connect with their higher selves, to be guided to connect with who their support group is, whether it's archangels, angels, if you want to get into it, whether or not there's intergalactic beings, right? There's different dimensions. There's so many higher level beings, Jesus, Mary, Joseph, all the archangels once again, but there's so many, your ancestors, there's so many beings there to support you, to guide you, to help you connect. And that's what they do. They'll provide you with information that will help you make your decisions, help you on your journey. One of the things that is really important to understand, though, is that when you do start connecting with angels and archangels and teachers in whatever form they are, that they will never tell you what to do. They will provide you with suggestions or ideas, but it's always your choice to make, and it's always with your best and greatest good. There's always so many options that are available to you to choose. It is never, when we exist in this world, because we have free will, it is never just one path that is best for you. In this moment right now, there may be one path that's what you should be doing next, but there's always, take one path and then there's always other journeys, other adventures, other things to learn, to understand about yourself. So there's always so many adventures that are out there. And because things change so quickly, you go out of the house and you go left instead of the right you were going to go, it can open up a whole new world to you, a whole new avenue. So we're never limited by what's possible for us, other than what we decide based upon our story and how we see ourselves. So start to ask for help. Start to be open, setting the intent of, I receive guidance from higher powers. Once again, whatever that looks like to you, whatever you're comfortable putting into that space. And to start to meditate, right? Do the guided meditations, be open, pray, and just to make yourself more aware. There's some really great books out there that guide you through becoming more aware and tapping into how to manifest. And, manifesting things is tapping into your needs and your wants and your higher self. E squared, the letter E with a 2 above it, but the title of the book is actually E with squared written out, by Pam Groot, I think it is an amazing book that guides you through some exercises on how to start to tap in to how you can manifest the visions that you have, or to tap into connecting with your higher self and understanding different aspects of yourself. There's so many books out there. In my book, The Magnificence of Magenta, Rediscovering the Color of Your Soul, I talk about how to come to understand yourself better and some of the basics of coming to connect with your guides and your teachers and your ancestors and things along that lines. Another great teacher is, do I have a book? Nope. But there's so many different. If you Google connecting with your guides or your angels or anything like that, you'll get some amazing books that are out there. And it's all about starting to play with it, starting just to be open, setting your intent to receive more, to have more, and to connect with those that are there for you. And so the more that you do connect, and the more that you have this feel the support and feel the guidance in whatever form it presents itself to you, the more that you can start to know that you are supported, and know that you don't have to do it alone, that you don't have to try and control things in order to move towards letting go of control and trusting the universe, trusting God, trusting the angels to be there for you. And they are once again just waiting for you to guide you and to be there, be part of your support group. And so once you can move towards that, then you can reach that point where you can say, okay, I've seen the guidance is there. I see that I can trust this guidance. And if I can trust that guidance and that support, then I can give up this need to control and know that I don't have to control relationships. I don't have to control the people around me. They are going to be okay without me. And also giving up that need to think that it's your job to control other people, that they can't do it without you. And you're giving away a lot of energy when you have that need to control. And so I think one of the biggest things is to start to pay attention to yourself. How are you controlling? And if you are controlling, to start to think about it more, think about a greater awareness, right? What if you did give up control? What if you didn't do things, what if you didn't have to have the house completely clean? What if you could let go of being a perfectionist? All these pieces of the puzzle will guide you on your journey. Even the fact that you're listening today is, one step that you've been brought to hear that it's important either for yourself or someone around you to start to think about trusting more and giving up that need to control more as part of this journey that you're on. So being in control is really not doing what you think that it is. It's actually taking up a lot of your time. It's affecting you physically, mentally, and emotionally. It's probably affecting those around you. And with everything that's going on in the world right now is a time to take a look inward and see what's really going on so that you can move towards loving yourself. Because the more that you can give up this need to control, the more time you have to love yourself and to figure out more about yourself, and to start to explore other avenues that are available for finding that joy and happiness in your life that you're looking for. Once again, it's all about going inwards, but sometimes you need that guidance to help you on your journey. And, I think reach out and ask for help. And it's part of what I do. So check out my YouTube channel, Joanna Rochester, Soul Alchemist, or my website, which is soulalchemisthealing.com. There we go. But otherwise, but also Real Talk Soul Alchemy is part of Speak Up and Empower's online community of heart-centered people that are focused on building a community to help everyone find more in their life, more joy, more happiness, more peace. We have conversations that change the way you think. Check out the website, speakupandempower.com. We have a great app that's there for you. But check out, my page, Real Talk Soul Alchemy, and there's so many other Real Talks that are out there to help you on your journey. Join me again next Thursday at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for more about soul alchemy. But also on Tuesdays at 10:30, I talk about wellness and more of a physical sense and natural therapies and how to utilize those to help you become healthier and to help move towards understanding yourself better also from that perspective. I'm Joanna Rogister. This has been Real Talk Soul Alchemy, and have an amazing day.